Welcome to the Vibe Dialogue, a podcast for creatives. I am your host, Jesse Ogle, and I am super excited to talk about my experience on Squid Game season 2, the challenge. And of course, I'm also here to talk about really important things that have to deal with the arts and the creatives and how we interact with society. And it just so happens I was on Squid Games The Sound Season Challenge 2, and there's a huge musical component to that, which I'm stoked to tie in and share with this podcast. So I'm interviewing a series of different players, and again, it's going to really help if you like and subscribe. All that stuff, follow. It's going to help boost the channel, help me have more reach. This episode, I feature Hanna Naquin Player number 360. We had some great conversations inside the door room and talked about music and its impact. And I think you'll find this interesting. And this is the interview with Player number 360. This is the Vibe Dialogue podcast. It's a podcast for creatives, but I'm also focusing on my experience in Squid Game season 2 of the challenge. And I have a very special guest. This is Player 360, Hanna Naquin. And we had, I think we had some really special conversations inside of the dorm rooms. So I wish I would have lasted longer so I could have created even more relationship. But unfortunately, I got out on the third game. But you lasted longer, which is great. So like, wait.
I went to the next game. I went to mingle, but you did really good, Jesse.
Okay. Yeah. So you lasted one longer than me then, huh?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
But it was rough. It's all rough. That's the thing. It was a challenge every single game. It was
Totally. And then, so one of the main questions I ask everyone that comes that I've like interviewed is like, why did you do this? Like, why did you want to be on this?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, great question. But the reason that I personally did it, so I did it for a fun adventure. I watched Squid Games, the challenge season 1 with my daughter. She asked me to watch it with her. I said, sure. After watching it, we're sitting there, got invested, and I'm like, I could totally do these games. And she's my hype girl. So she was like, yes, you could. Yes, you could, Mom. Completely underestimated these games, but it was a great experience. And it was what I went there for, as far as just like the adventure, to do something fun and spontaneous. And of course, who can't use $4.56 million? Which, my son has special needs and stuff. So he's got a few things going on. That was like a charity, obviously, that means a lot to me and my family that I would want to donate to. But more just going in for the experience,
Yeah. And this is a one that I'm really curious about is like, how does the game like affected you? Like, do you have any like trauma over it, or is there any do you have any anxiety over it? Like, do you wake up at night, like, is there any negative effects? There's a lot of positive ones, but are there any negative ones?
I don't think there's any lasting negative ones. Not to say that when I came home, I got to South Carolina, which is not my home. I'm from Louisiana. But right whenever I got back into the States, I just started crying because I felt like I was home. The experience really does shake you a bit. I'm not a super emotional person. So that was kind of shocking for me to even just sit there and cry. And then I did find like the next morning, I started normal life again. Me and my husband got up, got our kids ready for school. But I realized how overstimulated I was. Because in the games, there's not a lot going on. And you just get kind of paranoid, making sure that there's not an open door or something that somebody's going to drag you into.
Yeah.
But so I found that to be a little bit different, but I don't know that for me, there's any lasting negative effects. I mean, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
What about you? I'm curious. Is there?
There is like it's weird. I feel like I have a very strong constitution too, and I don't get rattled really easy. And I play like I got in the, I did it because I like playing games, and of course I have two nonprofits that I'm looking to fund. So it's like from a fundraising perspective, hey, why not put yourself in position to make much money? So I think yeah, I did suffer a little bit of trauma. I noticed like the first few days after I got back, I was just like, what am I even doing like in life? And that's totally not me. But I think maybe because, um, you know, like one area of trauma is like the way I got out was just at no fault of mine, right?
Yeah.
And then also,
Which was a really hard one.
yeah, it's an uncatchable ball. But I think maybe too for me was like just the fact that I thought like I was actually like in a good position. So if I would have caught that ball, like I would have been like I was part of a group that made sure everyone that is even there is there, which so like I'm in good favor. I've no one reason. I don't think anyone has a reason to eliminate me, and I'm not like a drama queen. So
Right.
that's like one of the things too, but. Yeah, so I felt like there was a little bit of trauma. Like even like I'll even revisit that like moment of like, man, I wish I could have done something different, like kind of like that, like some anxiety. But it's
Yeah.
yeah. But so everyone's a little bit different. I was just curious if you had like
Well, I mean,
yeah.
and you say that because for me, so I don't have trauma over the way I got out, but I do have a bit of regret. So, opening up, I guess, a little bit about that is so we did a practice round for Mingle. It was the only game that we did a practice round. And I'll call it an alliance, but we didn't really call it that
Yeah.
at the time. It's just a group. And then we had a group of 10 of us. And then we were working with a group of 12 of us right behind. Well, during the practice round, the first number was 6. And they said, no running, no physical contact. This is a game of persuasion. Be sure to talk. So, of course, we do the practice round 10. We walk right in the door. We're like, this is the easiest game we ever played, We walk back out and they yell 6. And so my little group is just sitting there chit chatting. And I'm kind of just like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know what to do. Of course, our team behind us of 12 just split 6 and 6. So I just like walked to the door. Like I was not aggressive. I was actually helping Nico down the steps and like I was not in game mode, which sounds so crazy because
Yeah.
obviously I'm there to win.
Yeah.
When you're there, you're like living in it.
Yeah.
So I have regret looking back because I'm like, why didn't I just run?
Yeah.
What was I doing? Like I'm looking at myself on camera and I'm literally just what am I even doing? But
That's
there's
funny.
so much in there, like they get you right there, kind of where they want you for the camera, and it's a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so like I think I wanted to, and I've been asking a lot of people this, but I wanted to kind of like take you back to the some stories that weren't told. Obviously, they pitch it, they make the season how they want. They're in the business of selling drama, right? So anything that gets drama is, and that's what people want. But like I thought the counting portion where we were like split into two different groups was like, for me, I was there for a week, like the most impactful thing that happened to everybody at once. We all experienced it. But like, what was your recollection when we get to, we're split into groups, we walk up the stairway, we all are in the white room, and then the game gets announced. Like, can you walk me, how do you recall that happening?
Yeah, I mean, so we split into the groups, and honestly, at that point, my immediate thought was I'm going to go blue. I don't know why, but I stayed in red because I was already in red, and a couple of people around me were like, "We're going to stay in red." That's how easily influenced I was on that part. Like it's just because it's 50-50. I don't know. So
Totally.
I'm like, you know what? Does it really matter? I'm not sure. So that's kind of how it went for that part. And honestly, that's how all of Squid Games was just like go with the flow and do your best because there wasn't any strategy in something like that.
Yeah.
But so then we walk in the white room. Of course, I'm nervous, and they immediately, they kind of cut to the, all right, we're going to do a challenge, and you're going to count, which we're all like, what? what does this mean? What do we do? I don't know. It was a lot of just nerve wracking. It felt like cattle herding.
Yeah.
Like that's what it felt like to me. I was just kind of like, well, I don't know what I'm doing in here. But whenever they did say that it was going to be the challenge to count to 456 and, gave kind of the rules. So something about me is that I am ADHD. So I'm like, okay, I could count, but I am not the girl for this challenge. So they started throwing out things like, ask if anybody does this for a job or if anybody does this. I thought for me, the best thing to do is probably just to back up and sit down and be quiet and let people who, trust more than myself, who's going to probably get distracted in the counting, do that. So whenever I heard musicians, I mean, at that point, that's kind of what you have to do is just have all out faith. And trust in you guys. And that's where we did.
Yeah.
And it paid off. We see those flashes into the O's room and stuff. And that's where look, I do get she was slow or whatever was going on. But there was no trust in her either. So I'm sure she probably didn't feel the most confident. She started with "Don't blame us," I didn't get that vibe from y'all. I got
no, I was confident.
I thought everyone was really supportive of you guys. Pretty much there was nobody that was, I thought, really in argument to this strategy. Everybody was full on, yes, let's go.
And when we were clapping there and the counting is happening, what were you feeling like, or how did that feel?
Oh, I was so nervous. So there was a little group of us, and we were in this little prayer circle, just sitting there. And of course, we're counting along. And I remember that or in the mid 200s, it was where are we again?
That's so funny.
It's harder than it seemed.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I get tripped up. I'm no. So full out faith in y'all, and you pulled it off.
Yeah, that's funny. And I was actually talking to Isaiah Zeke, who's one of the counters, the verbal counters. And he's a hip hop artist, right? So he's got the rhythm. And we were talking about how we were able to lock in with the clapping and his rhythm and almost make music out of it, right? It was a musical thing. And some people said they were moving and dancing and swaying to the beat, and just in it. And so I just think that was so, for me as a musician, that was so serendipitous is of course the first thing is music, and I got this because this is what I do in my life. And I mentioned at that time, I was hey, I know this song, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do. And they didn't want you to sing it because of copyright.
They wouldn't let me sing it. So I was oh, okay, well, it's funny.
Then they come over, they added that as a new rule. They're no.
Yeah, and I just sang it in my head and was clapping, and I was dude, and what's crazy is, remember, I don't know if you remember, we said we're going to stop 2 seconds short because they didn't announce the rules, but the tiebreaker went to who was ever under. So we're okay, we're going to stop 2 seconds short. And then they said the winning team was within 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
And I was we nailed it. We nailed it. Yeah.
100%.
And
right.
That doesn't happen. Yeah. Yeah.
I felt it was that when we were in there. I mean, there was that much confidence in the room.
Yeah.
And yes, it was a total musical thing. People were clapping. I mean, it would have been even better if because y'all practiced with that song a little bit, but it really would have been better had you been able to sing it.
Oh, yeah. It would have been amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And I just think, it's it's funny, that will probably never be ever done again in Squid Games. I think they almost didn't really, from my perspective of telling a story, and I know it's more of an inspirational story, and it's almost a feat of it's more of a technical skill that would be showing rather than drama. But I think it would have been the coolest story if they would have maybe dived into that a little bit more, just because from a professional musician, which, you might not know as much, but if you were to ask a professional musician, one of the highest level professional musicians you could find, and you said, hey, can you be perfectly on time for 7.5 minutes? There's very few that could do that under that type of pressure. Would even be maybe so there would be pro drummers for Janet Jackson maybe, or something like that, could do that, but very few. And so like what happened was insane. So and that, I think that's kind of how I end up connecting with people through that moment. I'm certain, like, we were sitting in the dorms, and I was able to like just sit down and get to know you a little bit. We had like a really good talk, maybe like it might have been like an hour where we were just talking, and then you were telling me about your
It was,
son.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how your son music has been like really helpful for him. And can you tell me a little bit about like how music has impact on him?
Yeah, for sure. So my son he has partial agenesis of the posterior part of his corpus callosum. So basically, it's just like a brain malformation when he was young. Um, and or when he was being born, like in my stomach, whatever, his throughout his development is when kind of it happens. And so he's just missing a little piece. It's kind of like the dot connector between both hemispheres of the brain. But what happens is he has trouble like communicating a lot. He has
Mm,
global delays, different things, but communication is the main thing. So of course, like what he's falling in love with is music, and like any type of music. Loves like rock music. Loves obsessed with band, like the LSU band, but country. I mean, literally any type of music. He is just all over it, and I think it's because it's and I know that people have kind of heard this before with the music therapy and things, but it's got something to do with his communication is just better that way. People can kind of more understand what he's saying and what he's meaning. And I don't know, it in a way I think connects people, and it's kind of what showed through in Squid Games is how it connects
mhm,
people. And I think that's actually probably why it was a connector, even for you, to show that you could stand up through music, do something.
mhm.
This is a technical skill, but um, I, I, it's almost like a visual display of how music connects people, and it's for him, but
Mhm.
in a different way through Squid Games. So,
Yeah, that's really cool. I so one of the like speeches I talked to for like even just generating fundraising dollars for like the nonprofits that I run, and I run two nonprofits. One's in Durango, Colorado, and one's in Boulder, Colorado. One's a little bit more focused on music education, but my pitch is like music actually makes you smarter. And what it does, it's proven they've like taken brains of musicians, but and like like had autopsies on them. And what they notice is that you don't grow any more nerve cells. You're born with all the nerve cells you're going to ever have. You have them. Whatever you're born with is what you have. So you
mhm.
don't you're not growing more nerve cells, but you can grow more connections between those nerve cells. And in the brain, those are called synapses. And so generally, those fire between left and right side of the brains. And music really develops more synapses, so firing connections. So when you say that about your son, I'm like, wow, this is what's happening. Bingo.
Mhm.
And so so we always say, like, for in music and stuff, like, expose your child or whatever to music, and it's also, they've proven with studies that like the more technical the music, even the more beneficial. So like classical, or like an advanced rock band like Led Zeppelin or something, or jazz, those all have like impacts on them. But that's a really cool thing, and it's just like almost proof of concept that you're saying that. And I thought that was cool that we just like got deeper on that level, because and I mean, a lot of people, I mean, shared some deep moments there, and you can't not but have some
Oh,
deeper conversations. It's like,
right.
yeah, like, I mean, but I remember, your husband, he coaches baseball, right? And like
Yes, he
like those things you kind of take with you. It's like, and I thought, if I was going to take one thing away from Squid Games, you're probably going to say the same thing, but like, maybe the most important thing out of everything, whether you win or lose, is that your ability to create authentic connections without having a phone or device. and
right.
and they take all that away from you. And I actually think that's a cool thing. And it's amazing how, like, I haven't been without my phone for a week, and I can't remember how long. Like, how about you? you
Oh
know
my, 100%. I
yeah.
mean, and that's it, because anyone who knows me, like, first of all, I talk to my family all the time. Like, I FaceTime them constantly. Like, if I call you, pretty much I FaceTime. I don't know why, but it's just whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it was so weird, first of all, being without them, because that's something. too, is like being able to do it on your own. So I've been with my husband since 8th grade. So
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
literally
Yeah.
side by side.
Yeah.
But he's really great at small talking and like things like that. And I'm the one who can like more build the deep connection. So he always like helps on the front end. But this was a great kind of experiment for me on my own to first of all be with no phone. So people use it as like a crutch too, you know,
Yeah.
like if you're not sure what to say, you could pull out your phone or do. But
Exactly.
this was
Yeah.
great because it like kind of forced you to get past that, or you know, if that's a, I don't want to say fear, but if it's kind of a fear of yours or you don't want to be awkward or whatever, it forced you to get past that, which forces you to get to know people and get to know their deeper meaning and ask more questions. And make those connections. And I think that's why a lot of us brought those connections back home with us.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
made the friends. Because if not, if we'd have been on the phone or whatever, we probably would have been saying hey and then, you know, not really got to know each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. I would say like if you could I mean like that's like a kind of a overall life concept that if you could transplant more into our society you'd benefit from, because I think reality TV gets a bad name. And I mean I'm not I don't have any ambitions of being a reality TV star, but like but when you like think of things like that, you're like, oh well, there's some really valuable things actually here, that lessons that are beyond anything else, you know. And that was like one for me. So what do you like, just so if people are going to get to know you, like they saw you as a like, but what they, you know, they see you as your player, and
Yeah.
there's a couple little bit of things, but like, who are you in real life? Like, what is your identity?
So in real life, and I'm still figuring it out, just 35 years old, but I'm still figuring it out. So that's the thing is I've been with my husband for you know, since middle school. And then so I grew up as a gymnast, super kind of hardcore competitive. And then I broke my neck, which you'll see that kind of in there. That my quote was I broke my neck and I'm not afraid to do it again for $4.56 million. But so I broke my neck doing gymnastics. Then I moved on and I cheered at LSU. I've always had a lot of energy. That's something people have told me. But then after that, you know, I had 2 kids. Husband's a baseball person through and through. So that kind of became our life. Like I'm a very supportive wife and I take care of the kids, and have enjoyed that for so long. But over time, after having the kids, and I'm not a routine girly, I just like to do spontaneous stuff. That's kind of the part of me that I started to lose because, you know, kids are not like super spontaneous. It's not easy to be spontaneous with kids.
Totally.
So that part of me kind of went away. So whenever I had this opportunity, that's why I say like it was for adventure. It was kind of something for myself. So it's hard to give that identity for me because not that Squid Game is kind of who I am, but on top of the mom, baseball, wife, all of this stuff, that adventurous, like fun, random, spontaneous person is like who I am at heart. Of course, bring a lot of energy, usually like positive, optimist. Those are the things I'm kind of like known for on accident. Because similar to you, like I don't really have aspirations to be a TV reality star. Don't get me wrong. If that comes my way, like I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But never have I, like, this is the first thing I've applied for.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
That's what, so like, I can't say that's always been a dream, but that's where I'm more like, let's just see what happens and have fun along the way.
Yeah.
So let's see kind of like what opportunities this brings. And if not, like, I'm happy with where I am and I'm happy with the experience and all the things I can take away from it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely tell you are that adventure spirit, and you're very easy to get to know, and that's a really great trait to have. So not everyone has that. So yeah. Okay, so if you were gonna if you were just for the Squid Games perspective,
Yeah.
if you were gonna like, if you wanted one person that you think like, so like I always ask this question to everyone, is like, who would you vote back in? And it seems to me that most people are like, they are wanting to vote back in someone who was like featured on this show. And that's where they default to, like, you know, Mark, or, you know, and not everyone really deserves a second chance, right? But so if you had to think deep about that, like, who would that be?
Oh, um,
Because they don't have to be strongly featured on the show,
no, and to be honest, I don't know that the person that I would say, I'm trying to like narrow it down in my head right now, but I don't know that the person I would say is featured because I I think, and this was one thing whenever I'm asking my friends and family to vote for me, um, there's a lot of people on here with big followings and things. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's going to
Yeah.
happen. But as I'm saying that, it's kind of like, why do you want to? The reason I think it not shouldn't be someone featured, but maybe not, is because everybody that went through the same exact thing. It almost, the edits kind of give this perception that because these people are featured, like it was harder for them. Like, for instance, my pentathlon wasn't featured.
Yeah.
Me picking X wasn't featured. And I'm kind of like, I swear I did.
Yeah.
And I did it. And
Yeah.
I was just as nervous as everybody else. Like I did the rock throw. The other musician, I mean, obviously he was featured, which was great. And actually,
Yeah.
I might even say him if it's a featured person because he did get us there. And I did not vote him out because I
didn't either.
I thought
Yeah.
he pulled all the weight. And honestly, he probably had the most stressful day of his life just now. Like, why am I going to vote him out after he did it?
Right. Well, and my thing was, it's like, let the game take someone out. Don't take someone out. Let the game take someone out. Right.
At that point, I do understand that some people thought about it as like $50,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're eliminating 5 people. And at this point, I hate to say this because it might be the truth, might not be, but these people just got the slowest in their game. If there's going to be anybody that right now should not be a threat, it's these people. So why don't we just not? But I'm just like, why? I mean, that was a lucky shot for me. That's why I'm saying like, a true, know of that.
Yeah.
But they just had the most stressful day of their life. They did it. Why are we gonna be mean? Like kick them while they're down.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the musician being in that group, I was like, absolutely not. Like, no, that could be me. No.
Totally. Okay, so who do you pick?
Okay, I know.
That's funny, huh?
Oh, it's a hard, like that's really hard for me. You know what? I'll say, I don't even know the musician's name. What's the musician's name? The one who's in the black. I'll say Michael.
Okay.
Yes. The Back in Black band, the member of the Black band.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, another one that I thought was really great person and all is August. 111. I really do. I think he's just got a really good heart, and I like when people genuinely bring themselves into it. I definitely wouldn't vote anybody who's too mean or aggressive. By mean, I just mean like in the game mean, like not in real life. It's a totally different thing. So I want to separate that. Only thing about August is I love you, August, if you see this, but I'm not sure he has it to win because he's not like mean enough. I thought that about myself after I got out in bingo. I'm like, I'd have gotten once this got cutthroat. I would do it if I had to, but I would feel just god awful after this. I'd be calling every single one of these people, telling them I am so sorry and crying on the phone because I don't like that. But so I'd say musician or August.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's I just think I think it's an interesting thing watching everyone wanting to give, and they don't know any better, but like wanting to give the people who already got tons of screen time another chance. Rather than being like, wait, who? But the thing is, we're the only ones that know who should actually be on there, So I thought I'd bring some light to that. Let's see if, but like, we were there. Who actually should be on there? Because, you could pick Viper because he really got a bad shake.
I almost did. Almost did. Yeah. But I think, see, this is just all me speculating, and I'm just telling you, but because he was too much of a personality that I think that people would immediately see him as a threat on season 3. You got to be somebody that's like a little more under the radar, that's like known for being not that Viper was so nice, but
Yeah.
he was so much of a personality and he's
Yeah.
tall and big. Like, I think he can immediately be perceived as a threat, and he's got a very strong personality.
Absolutely. I don't know if you got to. Well, Ola Bengai was one of the counters with us.
Mhm.
I really liked him. There's like, he wasn't really on the show much, but man, I like great human, and that's kind of where my mind leads to go on those things. But and as someone who's got a really just cause, like someone that you can get behind, like as much as I like Mark,
Yeah.
and I love Mark, and I'll be connecting with him soon. The $1 million on your wedding is hard for someone to get behind emotionally.
Right? I know.
So
Steven.
yeah,
What about
yeah.
Steven, who won that 6.5 mil?
I know. I know. And what's funny is I told Steven before when I was in there too, he said he lived in Phoenix. I was like, oh, I'm playing a show in Phoenix. And Steven, he actually showed up my show. He was there like 2 months later after school. He's the only person I've actually seen in person from Squid Games, is Steven.
Because to Phoenix, I'll make sure I see.
Yeah, he was there. Well, it's funny. So we're about ending our time here. I think, I don't know if you're comfortable. How would people be able to like connect with you or like follow you, or if you're comfortable with that? And I'm sure you have a public persona. What is that? What's their Instagram, TikTok, or any of that? What's that? How can people find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you can connect with me on Facebook, I guess, but that's kind of where I'm at. I know Instagram is at Hanna Naquin, just my name put together, and then my TikTok is similar. I don't know if it's exactly. I think it's Hanna.Naquin or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so you can kind of see me on there, and of course, it's been full of Squid Game stuff. But I swear I have other personalities, so I'm going to be dropping that back in school.
Yeah.
It's been hard. I mean, I'm not huge into social media before this.
I know, right?
Well, I'm trying to create this presence, but I'm also like, there's so much to do for Squid Games, and like, so much to talk about.
There is, I know. Totally. Yeah. And it's like it's almost like forcing some people into a content creator role, which I've never really been in that role. I do a lot of like social media posting, but it's usually like I have a show here or something,
Yeah.
So it's like, come to the show I'm playing, or like, it's some reel of like a gig I was at or something. But okay, awesome, Hanna. It's so good to connect with you. I would love to like keep obviously we're following you on social media and stuff. I would love to just keep in touch, and thank you for being on this. Again, this is Hanna Naquin and Player 360 from Squid Games The Challenge Season 2. One of the most amazing, authentic humans on the program. And you might consider, this is going to be out by the time, but hopefully you voted for Hanna to be back again, because she truly deserves it. So that's wraps it up, puts a bow on everything for us today, and we'll see you next time. Okay, that was an awesome interview, awesome conversation with Hanna, Player 360 from Squid Games: The Challenge Season 2. Hopefully you find her, vote her in, or I guess maybe it's too late now to do that, but let her know that you were thinking about her, follow her on socials, all that good stuff. Again, like and subscribe our channel. That helps a lot. And come find anything you want from me. I also have my musical project, New Bass Theory, if you want to follow that. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.